Throughout history, there are voices that never fade, voices that echo across generations, inspiring hearts long after they are gone. One such voice was that of Martin Luther King Jr., the man who dared to dream of equality, justice, and love in a world filled with hate and division. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia. At that time, America was a divided land, not by geography, but by skin color. Black people were treated as second-class citizens. They were forced to sit at the back of buses, attend separate schools, and live in neighborhoods marked by discrimination. But in the darkness of injustice, a young boy named Martin saw a light, the light of hope. As he grew up, Martin became a pastor, but his mission went far beyond the walls of a church. His sermons were not only about heaven, but about changing life here on earth. He preached love instead of hate, peace instead of violence, and hope instead of despair. He once said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." These words became the foundation of his entire movement. In 1955, a woman named Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat to a white passenger on a bus. That single act of courage sparked a movement, and Martin Luther King Jr. became its leader. But he didn't fight with anger or weapons. His weapon was nonviolence. He believed that the power of peace was stronger than any army, and that love was the only force that could truly change hearts. Then came the day that changed the course of history. August 28, 1963. Over 250,000 people gathered in Washington, D.C. to demand freedom and equality. Martin Luther King Jr. stepped up to the podium and spoke the words that would awaken a nation. "I have a dream. I have a dream that one day my children will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." Those words became immortal. They were not just a speech, they were a prophecy, a revolution born from faith and compassion. That day, America began to wake up. People from all backgrounds started to realize that justice was not a privilege, but a right for every human being. But the road to justice was not easy. Martin was arrested more than 20 times, his home was bombed, and his life was constantly under threat. Yet he never gave up. He said, "If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But by all means, keep moving forward." Those words remind us that progress, no matter how small, is still progress. In 1964, his dream began to take shape. Martin Luther King Jr. was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, not just for himself, but for every man, woman, and child who had stood against hatred and fought for equality. His movement led to the passing of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which changed the legal and moral structure of the United States forever. But great dreams often come with great sacrifices. On April 4, 1968, while standing on the balcony of a hotel in Memphis, Martin Luther King Jr. was shot and killed. A bullet ended his life, but not his dream, because dreams that are born for humanity never die. They live on, in every voice that speaks for justice, and in every heart that believes in equality. Today, more than half a century later, Martin Luther King Jr.'s message still burns bright. In a world that continues to struggle with hatred and division, his words remind us that real power lies not in weapons, but in conscience. He showed humanity that to change the world, you don't need violence. You need vision, courage, and love. He taught us that faith means taking the first step, even when you can't see the whole staircase. That courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. And that one dream, if it is pure enough, can awaken a nation. So ask yourself, what's your dream? Do you have the courage to believe in something bigger than yourself? Because one man's dream changed the world once, and maybe yours can too.